Lisa Corrette, for those who don't know me, and I am a Boston HERC alumna. Thank you, Pastor Sam, for your 23 years of leadership to the Boston HERC community. Boston HERC has literally changed the trajectory of my life. You all have impacted my educational career, professional development, and most importantly, my spiritual walk with Christ. If it wasn't for this community, I would have not attended Boston University on a full ride. Pastor Sam, I pray for this new season in your life, and I am incredibly grateful.
Can you believe this? Yeah. This is like one of the most tense, impossible games of Jenga I've ever been involved with.
I'm very impressed.
Until now. I smell death.
You know, the first time that I met Sam, he was playing the clarinet. So I know that he's a very good clarinet player. I was like, who is this guy with this? What kind of instrument is this, you know? But he's very loving. He's a lot of fun. He was like a father figure to me and my sister. And so every time that we think about Sam, it's like that figure of someone that when you need support, when you need something, he's gonna be there for you.
The one word that comes to mind when I think about Pastor Sam is encourager. He is someone that from the first time that I met him and I went through the interview process and all of these other years, I see that he does that with me. He does it with every single person that walks through the doors of the Boston HERC.
Lo tomamos como una bendición en nuestra familia.
If I could describe Pastor Sam in one word, it would have to absolutely be passion.
Two things drew me to do this nutty thing and take this job. Number one, I had spent 6 years in the New York City Office of Corporation Counsel's Family Court Division. Probably the most serious cases involved, weapons possession and homicide. But they were children. The youngest at court was 11 that I saw in 6 years. And to me anyway, I made it sort of kind of a game of it. I had until the age of 16 to try to use the arrayed resources of the great state of New York City to try to turn this kid's life around. And I failed more often, the system failed more often than it succeeded. And I thought, man, we're pouring at that time in $1990, $20,000 per child. And they're turnstiling back into this court. There's gotta be a better way to do this. And I was a Pentecostal preacher's kid, and I had seen life transformation is possible. And life transformation of youth is possible, number one. And number two, I figured the perfect place to do that was Boston. And that's because I went to law school in Boston College Law School. And it wasn't law school itself that did it. It was encountering this really charismatic pastor and his wife, Pastor Roberto Miranda with his Fidel Castro beard, and his vision for the city. And we both, of course, we believed that life transformation was possible. But over those 3 years in that, that little church at that point in Cambridge, we began to believe that that transformation could happen at the level of a city. I entered this job, and I do most of what I do because I believe that if you start doing things by faith, you'll end up with a life that exceeds what you ask for and imagine. And that certainly describes the last 20 years at the Boston HERC.
So the role that Boston HERC played for me, it was amazing. I mean, as a first person going to school in my family, we had a lot of hurdles to overcome, and Pastor Sam was there. I remember one time we were filling out FAFSA, and it took us an hour and a half to complete it, and then it completely crashed, and so we had to do it again. And so poor Sam, he was so distraught, and I was like almost crying. I didn't know what to do. But like that's one of the things that shows like his passion for what he wanted to do at the beginning. So then Boston HERC like allowed me to, go through the college process, figure out what I wanted to do in life, like where did I want to go. And little by little, it really like shaped the way that I started to look at myself in the world. What was I going to do in the big, the big screen? And so I think it's invaluable, really, the help that I got from Herc and from Sam. He's a dear friend to our family now, and so yeah, it was a really exciting experience overall. So I ended up going to 4-year college. I went into my first pick, which is something that everybody's looking for. But then after that, I had a lot of different hurdles. All that to come to, now I'm a doctor. So I ended up going to medical school. And then I decided to have my own company. So now I have my own company. I work for myself. I work with people that are trying to better their health. And especially with the Latino community, I felt like that help that I got from HERC allowed me to understand how important it is to focus on people that are like the minorities, the people that really don't have that much access to everything else. And so now I'm working with minorities, right? Latino people that are trying to improve their health. And I have my own business. I can't believe I have my own business. I don't have to work for anybody. And that could be all thanks to HERC. So that's exciting.
Fue muy importante en la vida de Eric porque a raíz de la salud de mi esposa, que fue mejorando, él había tomado la decisión de ya no seguir en la universidad. Entonces, al graduarse de high school, él quería pues dedicarse a trabajar y ya no más estudiar. Entonces, aquí fue donde HERC, a través de Pastor Samuel, a través de Robert, ahí sí que influyeron en la decisión de él de poder continuar sus estudios universitarios. De lo contrario, él ya había tomado una decisión de ya no seguir, siempre con el propósito de apoyarnos a nosotros como sus padres. Hoy trabaja y estudia, ¿ya? Y esperamos pues de que muy pronto, pues que es el sueño de padres, y él pues como hijo también tiene sus sueños, entonces el deseo de él es de graduarse, y lo está haciendo combinando su trabajo y más los estudios.
I can't even quite remember the first time I met Sam because I feel like I have known him for such a long time. I think it must have been sometime early in my tenure at the Boston Foundation, so maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And he's always been such a kind and thoughtful leader, partner, sounding board. He has worked so tirelessly to build the Boston HERC from the ground up into what it is today and supporting hundreds of students on their way to post-secondary success. So I remember we were just so thrilled when we were finally able to add the Boston HERC to the Success Boston portfolio once the model of the organization evolved to align with the initiative. And then it felt like the fit was almost immediate. It was just right. And frankly, the HERC quickly became one of our model coaching partners, which I think is a true testament to just how dedicated Sam has been to the organization for 2 decades, to his foresight, to his tenacity, but also I'd say to his rare skill to hire really, really good people and then, as they say, get out of their way so they can shine.
He stopped by the youth group and told us about a program in an organization, Boston Higher Education, that he was very passionate about, and the programs that it offered to youth for preparing for college and preparing for the SATs. At that time, I'll be honest with you, all of this was foreign language to me. I didn't know really what it entailed to apply to college, what it took, to get into college, or that I even needed to take an SAT. Today, I am blessed to say that I work for a top 500 company, the Bank of New York Mellon. as a vice president for a mutual fund custody client service department. I have been there since 2008, since I graduated college. And since then, I've had the opportunity to get my MBA and to get a project management certificate as well. And again, really where it all started was at Boston Higher Education Resource Center. And that one evening when Pastor Sam stopped by our youth group and told us about this amazing program and the opportunity that we had to go to college if we so chose to.
So one story that I particularly remember from Pastor Sam and in our time working together at the Boston HERC was back in 2017 when we were experiencing a very scary season in the life of the Boston HERC, and it came down to whether or not we were going to continue on as an organization. And I just remember him just speaking his heart, you know, to me, to the team, to so many people that have been huge supporters of the Boston HERC, that have been our friends. And I saw such passion, but also he was hurting a lot because he's like, I don't want this place to just shut down, because there's still, and I believe that with him, I'm like, there's still life in here. And that alone just let me know how much Pastor Sam really loves, you know, this place, this organization, and the work and the people that we serve.
For me, the Boston Higher Education Resource Center has been and remains a great adventure. You know, years ago, Dr. Miranda, and I don't remember the context, because it's always been, when you've been an executive director of anything, particularly a nonprofit in a town like Boston, you're going to have tough days, and you're going to have near misses, and you're going to have experiences that test your mettle. And you're going to have the kinds of days where the people who depend on you for life and leadership and even their livelihoods are looking at you, and their eyes are saying, you do know what you're doing, right, Sam? Right? We're counting on you knowing what you're doing. And that can wear away on you. I think it was maybe in the middle of one of those that Dr. Miranda, you know, sort of prophesied to me, you know, Sam, one of these days, it's going to come time for you to surrender the reins of the Boston HERC, and you're going to have trouble doing it. Everyone who has been part of this for the last 23 years, you know, do not underestimate your contribution. Do not take lightly. What you've meant to me, what you've meant to our to people who will never meet you, maybe many of them. And the impact that you have made and continue to make. Do not grow weary of doing good. Do not grow weary of doing good, because you really are changing the landscape of this city. And you are transforming entire generations. And I could think of no work more worthy than that.